name is Kyla Johnson, and I'm currently an environmental science major at CSU. Today I'd like to discuss with you guys climate change. So I would like to start by quoting CAL FIRE, which is a website that actually records the data about the wildfires currently happening in California. So while wildfires are a natural part of California's landscape, the fire season in California and across the West is starting earlier and ending later in each year. Climate change is considered a key driver of this trend. So to piggyback off that, I would like to say that my specific purpose is to persuade my audience that climate change is a real and very serious issue that is currently causing extreme weather conditions. So, what is causing climate change? Climate change is caused by greenhouse gases, human actions, as well as natural causes. If you look at this diagram off to the left, we have global surface temperature changes, which is this red line right here, and the sun's energy that Earth receives in this yellow line right here. And then we have these thin lines that show yearly levels, while the heavier, thicker lines show the 11-year average trends. So as you see, from 1880 to 2020, we have had a major increase in the temperature. This is what we are worried about. This is why we're discussing this today. Alright, so we will go on to greenhouse gases. I would first like to quote the EPA. Greenhouse gases from human activities are the most significant driver of observed climate change since the mid-20th century. Human activities are releasing greenhouse gases at an alarming rate, and carbon emissions are the biggest contributors to the greenhouse effect. So I like to define the greenhouse effect. It is defined as the warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth towards space. This heat can be caused by the burning of fossil fuels, such as coal, oil, and gas. Deforestation is also a major contributor. Therefore, the current wildfires that are happening out west in California will only worsen the greenhouse effect. So if you look over to the right, we actually have a diagram of what the greenhouse effect is. So sunlight reaches the Earth, some energy is reflected back into space, and some is absorbed and re-radiated as heat. Most of the heat is absorbed by greenhouse gases and then radiated in all directions, warming the Earth. So what's happening is we are letting out these greenhouse gases and they're being trapped, which is causing the warming effect, or the greenhouse effect, if you will. So now we will discuss human actions. As a result of anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions, key components of the climate system are being increasingly stressed. And that is from Shell and Uber. And climate extremes such as droughts, floods, and extreme temperatures can lead to crop losses and threaten the livelihoods of agricultural producers and the food security of communities worldwide. So this is going to eventually cause issues for everyone. It's going to cause issues with our everyday systems that we're used to using, and it's going to cause a lot of despair. And this human actions are caused by industrialization, vehicles, mining, and agriculture. Have you noticed an increase in storms this past year? Due to this climate situation being stressed, we are experiencing devastating tropical storms in multiple locations, and these are what are going to cause the crop loss and threaten the livelihoods of agricultural producers and the food security. We're eventually going to not be able to have access to food like we used to if everything gets wiped out from these really, really devastating tropical storms. So next we will go on to natural causes. Natural causes of climate change include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. Each of these are released through human or natural ways. They all contribute to the greenhouse effect. So I'd like to quote NASA and say that the consequences of changing the natural atmospheric greenhouse are difficult to predict, but some effects seem likely. Earth will become warmer, warmer conditions will probably lead to more evaporation and precipitation overall. A stronger greenhouse effect will warm the ocean and particularly melt glaciers and ice sheets, increasing sea levels. So as we've said, things are going to get worse. We're going to have a lot of devastation, a lot of rising sea levels, a lot of storms, a lot of mixture of cold and warm fronts. We're going to have a lot more wildfires, and it's going to be devastating if we don't do something now to stop this or to lessen what is going to happen. So climate change is a serious issue due to both human and natural activities, as we have said. But what can we do to fix this? What can we do to change this? I would like to first start off by quoting Bias and say that if the misuse of the resources continues in the future, chances are that our planet might be amongst the other 7 planets where life is not possible. And if you look to the left, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have a heat wave, we're going to have water shortage, sea levels will rise, we'll have flooding, we'll have tsunamis and storm surges, extreme weather, and, as we discussed, wildfires. So what we can do, some small things that we can do. We can use less plastic, we can convert to solar-powered homes, use public transportation or bikes instead of cars. We can switch to electric vehicles, avoid wasting food, and unplug devices when they're not needed. These very small changes will make a huge difference. And so I'd like to say thank you for listening to my presentation.